Hey, Larken Rose here. And when doing the candles in the dark method, and when writing the script for The Mirror, which is a program that does that method all by itself without a person having to be involved, except the user on the other end being asked questions, it's really important to try to find the goodness and the inner voluntarist in whoever you're talking to. Instead of assuming, well, you're an evil villain advocating evil stuff, and I have to talk you into being good. Like, if that's your approach, you're going to fail pretty much 100% of the time. And so a lot of people are just, the problem isn't that they're morally incorrect, it's that they're factually delusional. And one huge example I would give is all the people who have on their trucks the thin blue line sticker. What they mean by that is, I support the police that stop nasty criminals from harming innocent people and protect property and liberty and safety, yada, yada, yada. Good, that's a good motive to have. Now, if you think that's what the police do, you're just frickin' delusional. They're literally the biggest gang of thieves in the world. They steal more wealth than all other gangs and all other criminals combined, that not including taxes. That's just direct theft by thugs of the state. But the people who put those stickers on, they don't think of them as just thugs of the state. They desperately want to imagine that the cops are out there protecting innocent people and protecting and serving the blah, blah, blah. And I know because I was one. I was a statist who used to have a sheriff's thing and a Fraternal Order of Police sticker on my stinking car. Don't laugh and don't make fun of me too much. It was like 30-some years ago. But I totally did that because I thought of them as protectors, which was totally freaking delusional. But I bought into the propaganda. I also, for the most part, supported the U.S. military because I thought they were protecting us from big, bad, scary foreign armies that would come here and take us over. Just delusional, stupid crap. But I wasn't supporting the military because I was in favor of, like, blowing up random people on the other side of the world. Morally, my motivations for supporting the police and the military were dead on. I still support the use of force to defend innocent people against aggressors. I just now recognize that supporting the military and cops with that as the goal is bonkers. They're not protectors. They're thugs. They're thieves. They're the biggest gang of thieves around. And the U.S. military is a bunch of murdering, terroristic psychopaths who mostly do evil crap and create conflict and terrorize people and steal their stuff and blow up civilians. And the fact that sometimes they also kill other people on the other side who are equally psychotic and violent doesn't make it okay, the other things they do. Now, if you come right out and say that, it's funny because if you say I don't support the police, a lot of conservatives will really and truly assume that it's because you don't want the innocent protected, which is just stupid. Like, how dense do you have to be to actually imagine that all the people out there who criticize the cops are criticizing them for protecting the innocent? No, they're not. They're criticizing them for, like, beating people up and robbing people and being sadistic thugs all over the place. So there's a conflict of how they perceive factual reality way more than there's a conflict of morality. Because if you know, the person who has the thin blue line sticker could suddenly get a glimpse into, oh, here's some abusive cop just violently, randomly extorting people who didn't harm anybody, he wouldn't go, yeah, go get him. He'd go, that's not what I support. And you look how often the, conservatives will say, like, if you don't support him, are you going to call a crackhead next time you're in trouble? First of all, if you call cops when you're in trouble, you suck at planning ahead, because that is, you might as well call a crackhead. A crackhead is way more likely to be helpful. Why those are the two choices, I'm not sure. I would probably call someone who is neither a cop nor a crackhead, but maybe somebody I know with a gun or something. Well, first I would just use my own gun to defend myself if I was in trouble. But when they say that, they're demonstrating that they're bitter about the fact that some people don't view the cops as righteous protectors of law and order, blah, 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 blah. And they actually feel, the conservatives feel threatened by the suggestion that that isn't what the police is, in the same way they feel threatened when somebody criticizes the military. And the whole thing, how dare you take a knee and not blah, 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 blah. And they don't even take 8 seconds to think through, I'm pretty sure they're not taking a knee because I object to, like, spreading freedom and defending the innocent. Like, there's another reason they don't. Now, whether they're factually right or not, it's utterly stupid to demonize the people who say, I don't like the police. The police suck because I think they abuse a bunch of people. If somebody thinks that, even if they're factually wrong and the police are all righteous protectors, you don't have to hate them for being factually mistaken. But people are so bad at thinking that you get conservatives who want to assume that anybody who's against the cops must be in favor of, like, crime and abusing innocent people and murder and all that, which is just patently stupid. Why would you ever imagine that a significant portion of the population is for that? And yet that is how the discussion often goes. And by the way, it's the same thing in the other direction. Like the leftists who are like, I'm for gun control to make things safer. And if somebody points out, it doesn't make things safer, and by the way, gun control is gun violence, you can ask the Davidians about that, or the Weaver family, who experienced the real life ramifications of gun control, which is gun violence against innocent people. But if you say, nope, gun control sucks, a lot of leftists will assume you just don't care about children, which is so lazy and idiotic. You really think half the country just doesn't care if children die? And this stupid inability to even try to understand, why does this other person think this? And you can do that even if you think they're completely factually wrong. Like if you're convinced, yes, gun control reduces gun violence. By the way, it doesn't. But if you all the way believe it does, even if you were right, if somebody says, well, I'm against it because I don't think it does any good and I have the right to be armed, to decide that, well, you must be evil and you must like it when kids die, is just so lazy and stupid. And it's something that, yeah, a lot of people aren't good at thinking, and maybe people would come up with that crap on their own. But a lot of that comes from the politicians pushing that. Because the political parasites need us to hate each other. They can't just get us to the point where we have factual disagreements about which policies will have a certain outcome. Because that's not, it doesn't create enough conflict and resentment among the peasantry. They need conservatives to think that liberals all have bad intentions. And they need liberals to think that conservatives all have bad intentions. Like all the liberals, oh, if you support Trump, then you must want fascism. Like, ask a Trump supporter, do you want fascism? 99 point whatever percent are going to say, no, what are you talking about? Biden's the one being a fascist. So again, it's a factual disagreement. But neither side is very good at recognizing the other side is just mistaken. Now, in the case of gun control, I actually do know a whole bunch of people who bash gun control and who at least recognize that a bunch of liberals support it out of good intentions and a completely delusional view of reality. But they're trying to have there be less violence. They just don't understand that that is not the way to have less violence. So at least in that case, a lot of people who understand gun rights at least acknowledge the good intentions, along with profound ignorance, of the people trying to, falling for the gun grabbing BS from the politicians. But in so many ways, like, I mean, you look at Trump's rhetoric, and the Democrats are all evil, horrible, blah, 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 blah. Now, if you're talking about the politicians, I could agree with that. For Democrats and Republicans, the politicians are all lying slimeball. Some of them aren't when they go in, but you either leave or you turn into a slimeball, because you quickly learn the game is not built to make justice happen. It is built to serve the ruling class. And that's what it will always do, as long as it's there. But you look at his rhetoric, where he's trying to, condemn a huge swath of society, and then the political left, the whole legacy media, is doing the exact same thing. If you support Trump, you're a racist, and you're a bigot, and you're a homophobe, and you want fascism, and the thing is, the good news is that that's so patently stupid that a bunch of normal people are starting to notice, including people who are totally leftist, like Jimmy Dore, who is politically a liberal, but he's aware enough to notice you can't just declare that anybody who's against this senile old corrupt piece of crap Biden must be a hateful racist. That's just stupid and nowhere near being true. And when they play these games, the coolest thing to see is when you have chats between, like, Tucker Carlson and Russell Brand, who obviously came from different sides of the spectrum, and both of them are now approaching the thing of, like, yeah, both of these parties are kind of full of crap and don't have any principles and don't care about the people, and they're all playing this gross divide and conquer game. So it's awesome to see this falling apart, but it's so weird that there's still remnants of so many people being unable to grasp the fact that people on the other side of the aisle mean well. They think they're the good guys. They're not over there going, I just love supporting evil. None of the voters are doing that on either side. They can be clueless. They can be advocating authoritarian crap that ends in evil, but they think they're the good guy. And that's actually why the script of the mirror, one of the first things it does is ask the user, so do you think you're one of the good guys? And then it goes into more stuff about that, because most people can't even comprehend this. If you ask them, they sort of know it, but it's like they know it deep down somewhere in a place they don't usually look at. Of your political opponents, do you think they view themselves as the good guys? Or are they over there cackling about, I love supporting evil? Not the politicians, the voters. Do you think those people, or the more extreme example, if you could pause a war in the middle of people trying to kill each other, if you went over here and you said, okay, are you the good guys or are they the good guys? Both sides are going to say, oh, we're the good guys. They're the ones trying to ruin everything. Both sides of every war are going to say that. And the fact that even that doesn't occur to most people is so weird and pathetic. Now, luckily, it gives a convenient in for a discussion to have people start to think about that. And things like, if you had been born in a family that believed that stuff, and you were a good person and you meant well, do you think you may believe differently than you do now? Or do you think you've been 100% objective and not at all been influenced by who you were raised by and what you were surrounded by and the culture you grew up in? No, you're all the way objective. You started from scratch, neutral on every issue. And most people have enough awareness to go, yeah, I would have believed so. I still think I'm right now, but if I had been born over there and grown up around those people, I probably would have believed that. And acknowledging something that obvious can sometimes be a first step in getting people to go, okay, so what's the real difference? Like, if they mean well and I mean well and we're screaming at each other, is it just a factual difference of we don't see reality in the same way? Even though our morals, for the most part, would match. We want the innocent protected and taken care of. We want scary, violent people stopped, because that's what almost everybody would say they want. And the fact that humanity is still, like, we have all these technologies that allow us to blow each other up from the other side of the world, but a lot of us haven't advanced to the point of a level of communication that is just so simple and obvious and basic, which is trying to understand what the other side means and why. It doesn't mean deciding they're right or their opinion is equally valid, but just like, well, why do you think what you think? And so things like Candles in the Dark and The Mirror walk people through that, because it's actually a way to get them to start to think about their own beliefs and say, well, why do I think what I think? And is there anything in there that it isn't really come from me? It doesn't really match my morality and my conscience. It's just kind of something I learned and something I assumed and something I was surrounded by, because that's true of every single person that believes in government in the entire world. Left, right, anything in between, I don't care. That's true of everybody. And once people can start down the path of going, why do other people believe that? Are they all just evil? Were the Germans all just suddenly evil, so Nazi Germany happened? Or was there something else at work? Did they mean well? Did they think they were the good guys? Well, of course, most of them did. What would lead people who are trying to be the good guys to do something like that? And as soon as people are capable of thinking about that, then they're capable of step by step getting to the point where they can see the utter insanity and anti-human nature of statism. But sadly, that's a tall order for a lot of people who just love to jump to the conclusion that if you believe something different from me, it's because you're trying to be evil. No, it isn't. Oh well. So that's enough of a rant about that. And remember that next time you see a thin blue line sticker. The person, especially if that's the thin blue line sticker and then the Gadsden flag. Yeah, they're that delusional about factual reality, but their bogus, idiotic beliefs came from good intentions of they want innocent people protected by force if necessary. So do I. It's just they don't really understand why supporting the police and the military is the worst possible way to have an outcome of innocent people being protected. But if they can factually change their minds and hang on to the good intentions they had, they can find common ground with the people who fell for the other flavor of authoritarian bullshit, until the authoritarian bullshit falls away and we realize the different conservative, liberal, general attitude, there is no need at all to be at odds with each other, much less doing battle with each other, if we both outgrow the notion of authoritarianism. Because good intentions from different viewpoints match just fine. They get along just fine. It's only when you're arguing over an authoritarian solution that it turns into an immediate, disastrous mess, and your good intentions become fuel for evil. Yeehaw. Have a nice day.